Hello and welcome. My name is Saidas Ranade. The title of my presentation is Timelines in STEM Education, brought to you by Incolos LLC. Over 2 centuries ago, the great Gautam Buddha is believed to have said, "Nothing ever exists entirely alone. Everything is in relation to everything else." So let us start at the beginning. Engineering students and many math majors learn about Laplace transform in one of their undergraduate courses. I learned about it the first time back in 1979. It was introduced in my process control course simply as a technique for solving certain types of differential equations. I was able to use the tables to convert from the time to the Laplace's domain and back to obtain solutions to differential equations. I got good at it. But at that time it seemed like something was missing. A turning point happened sometime in 2010. I was asked to develop a course for process engineers and operators. I revisited the topic of Laplace transform. This time, for some unknown reasons, I was curious about it and wondered how it came about. I posed other questions. When was it discovered? What was the context? Who applied it for the first time in its current form? And that leads us to the story of Laplace transform. As you can imagine, it is an interesting story and involves the works of many mathematicians. It includes people and places and ideas and links between all of them. One way to understand a story is to map it on a timeline. So what you see on the screen is a timeline for the Laplace transform. Let us take a closer look. Right there, that is Laplace. The first time we see something that looks like a Laplace transform is in a 1782 paper by Laplace. At that time, he was doing work in the areas of probability and probability density functions. He picks up the topic later, and in his paper in 1810, he uses his technique to solve a difference equation. Almost 50 years later, Joseph Petzval, an Austrian-Hungarian mathematician, acknowledges the work of Laplace, or really for the first time attributes the technique directly to Laplace. But it is not until 1910 that we see the technique and the transform in a form that we use today. That happens to be in a paper by an English mathematician named Harry Bateman. In his paper, he uses the transform to solve a pair of differential equations. Later in the 1930s, Gustav Deutsch, a German mathematician, writes a book about Laplace transform. So what is my hypothesis? It is really quite simple. Understanding the original context is an important and powerful way to learn a topic. The importance of the original context is not emphasized enough in today's STEM education. A timeline is an important tool for capturing a facet of the context. This presentation then is about the importance of timelines in understanding STEM topics. So let us look at a few interesting timelines. What you see on the screen next is a timeline for modern control techniques. It covers predominantly a period in the early part or the mid part of the 20th century. The main topic here is the understanding of stability and controllability of dynamic systems, signal processing, and information processing. Reality is not a function of the event as event, but of the relationship of that event to past and future events. Robert Penn Warren. Here is another timeline. The topic here is classical thermodynamics. It predominantly shows a period during and right after the Industrial Revolution. Here we have the steam engine, the various energy cycles, the equation of state by van der Waals, the activity model of Van Laar, as well as the work of Gibbs and Duhem in applying the second law of thermodynamics for developing criteria for the feasibility of a change. This next timeline is about modern physics. Here we have Albert Einstein, who changed our whole way of looking at the universe. I find this timeline interesting because it shows the many contemporaries of Albert Einstein. We have Bohr, we have Schrödinger, we have Rutherford, Curie, and Planck. So it tells me that during this period there must have been a lot of opportunity to have conversations, discussions, and debates about ideas and theories. Enrico Fermi was a key player on the Manhattan Project that led to the development of the atomic bomb in the United States. His counterpart on the German side was Werner Heisenberg. The farther back you can look, the farther forward you're likely to see. Sir Winston Churchill. This next timeline covers mathematics. It covers a period of almost 3 centuries. Specifically, it deals with the topic of solutions to algebraic equations. Here's something interesting. It clearly shows that Newton and Leibniz were contemporaries. So maybe there is some truth to this debate about who really invented calculus. Newton also is believed to have said, "I am able to see farther because I stand on the shoulders of giants." Well, at least we have 2 giants here, Fermat and Descartes. This next timeline I have included just for fun, but I believe it is very important because it shows the major events that happened during the 18th, 19th, and 20th century. Why is it relevant? See, here we see the French Revolution. And as I pointed out earlier, part of Laplace's work was before the French Revolution and part of it was after the French Revolution. It also shows that there are some periods of calm. And I guess it's worthy of investigation to find out whether periods of calm really accelerated the development of ideas. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, you have seen a few timelines linked to selected topics. My hope is that you might be able to use these timelines to improve your understanding of those topics. I'm also hoping that you will see some new connections in or between 2 timelines that either I missed or have not mentioned. And I hope you'll be inspired to create your own timelines. Or as elegantly stated by Erwin Schrödinger, the task is not so much to see what no one has yet seen, but to think what nobody has yet thought about that which everybody sees. Profound, Mr. Schrödinger. I wish to acknowledge the help of my friend David Jones for his idea on using a feature of Microsoft Excel to generate the timelines. My name is Saidas Ranade. This learning experience was brought to you by Incolos LLC. Thanks for watching.